So today, given graphs and giving different scenarios, can we write the equation of a parabola? So let's look at the one here you see on the left. You can probably see it better. So what are you given in the graph? What do you see in this graph? You see the parabola, and what else you see? The directrix. So in this one, I see, here's my directrix. Here's my parabola. Where do you think the vertex is? Yeah, -2, 3. That's going to be my vertex, okay? So what is the formula that will be used here? What's the form of the formula? Okay, so it's x, the y's are squared, so it's x minus h equal 1 over 4p y minus k squared, okay? For every x, there are two y values here, okay? So what is the vertex for this guy? Yeah, -2, 3. And what's the value? So p, is p going to be positive or negative here? Yeah, p is going to be negative, and it's going to be a negative what? How do I get, why do I know it's -1? Come on. What's, p is the distance from where to where? Vertex to the focus and vertex to the directrix. So if I get either one of those, I'm good. So I know that p is negative. So this distance right here, that distance is 1, okay? So I know in this case, since that opens to the left, I've got p is negative. I know that. So I know p is equal to -1, okay? Using that information, let's write the equation. So what is the equation of this one? Yeah, x plus 2 equals 1 over 4 times -1 times what? Y what? Y minus 3 squared. So this is x plus 2 equal -1/4 y minus 3 squared. So let's look at the next one. What would be the specific formula that I'll use for this one? Yeah, so y minus k equal 1 over 4p what? X minus h squared. Okay. What is the vertex here? Yeah, 3, -3. Is p going to be a positive number or a negative number here? Positive, because it goes up. Okay. So how am I going to figure out what p is? What is it? Can you see? Yeah, p is 2. Okay. Because I know that the distance from here to here is 2. So if the directrix had been drawn, it would be right here, because that would also be a distance of 2. Okay. So now I know what p is. I know what the vertex is. What's the equation here? Yeah, y plus 3, 1 over 4 times 2, that's going to be 1/8. X minus 3 squared. Okay, okay, pretty straightforward. Okay. Now we're going to go through a few scenarios. Like I said, completing the square is with you until you become a junior, okay? If you see a parabola like this that's not in the standard form, you're going to have to use completing the square to get it there, okay? So look at this. I will need to complete the square in which variable here? X. Why not y? There's no y squared. So here, the variable that's squared is going to be x. So what is the specific formula for this parabola? You know, y minus k is 1 over 4p x minus h squared. That's what I need to get it to look like, okay? So that means get the y's on one side, the linear term, and then complete the square in x. So in order to complete the square, this is going to be y equal. What do I do to complete the square when it starts with a negative 3x squared? I have to factor the what? Negative 3. So this is negative 3 times x squared what? X squared minus 2x. Okay. So I factored out a negative 3. This is negative 3x squared plus 6x. Now to complete the square, what do I add here? Yeah, 1 squared. Okay. Now what did I really do? What did I do on the right side of the equation? What is that doing? Yeah, it's subtracting 3 or adding a negative 3. If I subtract 3 on the right side, what do I have to do on the left? Subtract 3 over here. So this gives you y minus 3 equal negative 3, and then what? X minus 1 squared. And I'm done. Okay. So that is the parabola. Y minus 3 equal negative 3, x minus 1 squared. Okay. Some people find this a little bit confusing because we only had to complete the square one variable. So you got to know which equation you're trying to get it to look like. Where does the linear term go? Where does the quadratic? And then you complete the square. And now, so this parabola opens up or down? Down because of the negative in front. Okay. And that's just, I'll leave it like that. You don't have to put it as 1 over 4p. I'll take it just like this with whatever this number is in front. So final answer here is just y minus 3 equal negative 3, x minus 1 squared. What is the vertex? Yeah, the vertex is 1, 3. Okay. So look at the next one. I would need to complete the square in what variable? Y. Okay. So was there a question, Aiden? Oh, okay. So what would be the specific formula that I'll be using here? Yeah, x minus h equal 1 over 4p y minus k squared. So that means if I can get the x and the constant on one side, get all the y's on the other. So I can write this as what? I'm going to need to do a little bit of work here. So let's just see, this is 2x minus 3 equal negative 4y squared minus 8y. Now what do I need to do to get it in the form that I need it? Look at the left. Does it look like x minus h? What's keeping it from looking like x minus h? 2. So what am I going to do with that 2? Well, I'm going to factor out a 2. This is 2 times x minus what? Yeah, 3 over 2. Everyone see that. So if I multiply this out, I get 2x minus 3. Okay. Equal, what do I have to factor here? Yeah, negative 4 y squared plus 2y. Right. Now what do I do to get that x minus 3 halves by itself? Yeah, divide both sides by 2. And then I get what? X minus 3 halves equal negative 2 y squared plus 2y. Okay, what's it going to take to complete the square there? Add what, 1 squared? So what have I really done on the right side? I did not add 1, I did what? I subtracted 2. If I subtract 2 on the right, then what do I do on the left? I have to subtract 2 on the left. Okay? So what this becomes is, let me take up a little bit more space here. So this is x minus 3 halves. What's another way of writing 2? It's how many halves? 2 is what? 4 halves? So that's x minus 3 halves minus 4 halves equal negative 2. And then what's in the parentheses there? Y plus 1 squared. So this is what's on the left. Yeah, x minus 7 halves equal negative 2. Y plus 1 squared. Which way does this parabola open? It's horizontal, opening to the left, okay? What is the vertex of this parabola? Yeah, 7 halves, negative 1. Okay. Now, was that one hard? It's just fractions, guys. Come on. That's middle school stuff, okay? Minus 3 halves minus 2. Convert it to fractions, you can do it. Now you'll be given 3 different scenarios, and you need to come back with the equation. So what we did so far, like we did in all of them, I give you a graph, you give me the equation. I give you the equation not in standard form, you complete the square and get it in standard form. The other one is I give you information like this. Find the equation of the parabola with a vertex 4, negative 3, and a focus of 4, negative 25/8. What do you think I do to make this happen? What do you think I should do? Yeah, let's graph it. That's sort of the clue that you see a graph here to the right. So 4, negative 3. That is somewhere right here, okay? So that's 4, negative 3. What's 25 over 8? What is that? Yeah, so it's negative 3 1/8. So if this is 4, negative 3, is the focus going to be lower or higher? Lower or higher? Lower. So remember 25/8, that's just 3 1/8, okay? So the focus is going to be at 4, negative 3 1/8. Okay? So this parabola opens where? Down. If this is the vertex and that's the focus, you know that it has to do this, okay? So what do I need in order to write this equation? I need to know the what? The vertex. I need to know where it opens, and I need to know the value of what letter? P, okay? So what's the standard form of this equation going to be? Yeah, y minus k equal 1 over 4p x minus h squared, okay? We know the vertex, so the vertex is 4, negative 3. All we need is the value of p. What's the value of p? Let's just stick with a fraction. What's the distance from negative 3 to negative 3 1/8? 1/8, okay? Is p going to be positive or negative here? Negative. So p is just negative 1/8, okay? Does everyone see that? So the distance from the vertex to the focus is 1/8. P is negative here. So if P is negative 1/8, what is 1 over 4P? That is 1 over 4 times negative 1/8, okay? What's 4 times negative 1/8? What's that? Negative 4/8. What's another word for negative 4/8? Negative 1/2. What's 1 over negative 1/2? Yeah, negative 2. So this is just negative 2. So the equation is what? Y plus 3 equal what? Yeah, 1. It's 1 over negative 1/2, or just negative 2. And then what? Yeah, x minus 4 squared. Yeah, so you got it? Okay. If you need to add extra steps there, that's good. So again, it's just you got to find the vertex to write the equation. You got to find the vertex and P, and you got to know which form to use. What's being squared, the x's or the y's, okay? And so you just look at the information you have. And all of these, I think you're given the vertex, okay? So let's find the equation of the parabola given the vertex and directrix. So if I'm given the vertex and directrix in the next one, what's that going to allow? What would that allow me to do? P is going to be the distance from where? From the vertex to the directrix. In the previous one, I knew the focus, but same concept with the directrix. So the vertex is at negative 5, 6, okay? So this is at negative 5, 6, okay? What is negative 11 halves? That's negative 5.5. So that means the directrix is going to be where relative to that point? To the left of that point. So I'm going to have a line here at negative 5.5 or negative 11.5, okay? So what's the distance from negative 5 to negative 5.5? 1/2. So what is P? Yeah, P is going to be 1/2 in this problem. So in this problem, does it have space on the next page? What does it do? Yeah. Okay, so in this one, we know that the vertex is what? Negative 5, 6. And we said P is going to be equal to 1/2. What's the standard form of the equation that I'll be using here? So which way does this guy open? It's going to open to the right if this is the vertex. So that means what form am I using? Yeah, x minus h is 1 over 4p y minus k squared. Okay. So I know the vertex and I know p. So this equation is going to be x plus 5 equal 1 over 4 times 1/2 times y minus 6 squared. What's 4 times 1/2? 2. So this is just x plus 5 equal 2 y minus 6 squared. Okay, pretty straightforward. So the previous one I gave you the vertex and the focus. This one I gave you the vertex and the directrix. It doesn't change anything because P by definition is the distance from the vertex to either of those points. But what you have to know is which way is the parabola opening. You know, it always opens toward the focus, away from the directrix. And that lets you know whether that number is going to be positive or negative. Now, this is the one that people don't like. Find the equation of the parabola with a focus at 1, negative 73/8. Why do people not like this one? Just don't like the numbers, right? Okay. So the focus is at 1, negative 73/8, and the directrix is at negative 71/8. Okay. So somewhere, which of those, so if I go over 1, which of these things is lower, negative 73/8 or negative 71/8? Negative 73. So somewhere down here there's a vertex at 1, negative 73 over 8. And then the directrix is where? Negative 71/8. Okay. And sorry, it's not the vertex. What is it? What is this point? This is the focus. So what is missing? The vertex. Where would the vertex be found? Halfway between these 2 points, right? So there's going to be a vertex halfway between those 2 points, okay? How far is it from 71/8 to 73/8? How far is that distance? 2/8. So that means the distance from here to here is 2/8. So what's the distance from here to here? Yeah, so you're going to have 1/8 from there to there and 1/8 from there to there. So this parabola is going to open which way? Down. Here's the vertex. So P is going to be what kind of number? Negative. What's P? Negative 1/8. Okay. So in this one, the equation I'm going to be using is y minus k equal 1 over 4p x minus h squared. I know that p is going to be negative 1/8. Okay. How do I find the vertex? I know the focus. The vertex is going to be up how much? 1/8 higher than that. Okay. So the vertex is going to be at 1. So how much higher than the focus will it be? 1/8 higher. Okay. So what is negative 73/8 plus 1/8? Negative 72/8, which is what? What's that number? 9. So 1 negative 9 is going to be where the vertex is. So now what's the equation for this guy? It's going to be y plus 9 equal 1 over 4 times what? Negative 1/8 x minus 1 squared. What is negative 4 over 8? That's what? 4/8 is 1/2. So negative 1/2. What's 1 over negative 1/2? Negative 2. Guys, 1 over 1/2 is 2. 1 over negative 1/2 is negative 2. So this is y plus 9 equal negative 2 x minus 1 squared. That's probably as hard as these get. And you just have to keep in mind the vertex to the focus, vertex to the directrix, that's P. And I did not cover it, but that means that from the directrix to the focus is what distance? 2P. Okay, so if you know that's what this one was, you knew what 2P was. You had to divide it in half to get what P was, and then derive the vertex. Is that it for this section? That is it. Okay.